Okay, Illustrator file, go to File and then New, and it doesn't really matter what size, just hit OK. And I am going to go to File and then Place, and I'm going to place that curved lines file right there. And I am going to just move this over a little bit right there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my artboard tool and I'm going to click it, and that gives you the ability to move your artboard around to whatever size you want. So it's the one that's down near the bottom. It's the square. It's got the little things coming off there. So I click on that, and now I can move this artboard to be the exact shape of this. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is explain how to use the pen tool. That's all we're doing. And this is a tool that you're going to use a lot in Illustrator. And I'm just going to turn this off for a second and just give you a quick tutorial on how to use this, and then we're going to be tracing over those lines. No, you don't need to make a new layer. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to just click once. So I'm in my pen tool. Oh, actually, the first thing we need to do is change the color. So right now there is a fill color that's white and no stroke color. You can see it up here, and you can also see it right here. So I don't want a fill color right now. I just want a stroke color, and I want one that's bright. Anything but black or white. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change this to no color. That's my fill. My stroke color I'm going to change to red. My stroke weight is at 1 point. I'm going to bump this up maybe to about 4 so I can see it better. You can always change these things afterwards. So now I'm going to just go click once, and it gives you an anchor point. So if I just click one time, all it does is give me an anchor point. You can see, and this is just like in the previous assignment where you did an image trace and then expanded it, and now you have all those anchor points everywhere. So you just created one. Now I'm going to go over here to the middle, and I'm going to click and hold my mouse down. So I click, I hold it down, I'm holding it down now, I move it out, and it creates this handle. And now with this handle I can move this line around wherever I want. The straight line is just a handle. It's not a line. So I let go, and it makes this curved line. Now I can, every time I click now, it's going to connect these lines together. So I can click here and hold and move my handle out. Or I can just click in a straight line, just click once. I'm just clicking now. But if I click and hold and move at the handle, then I can make it a curved line. So that's how this tool works. And so I'm going to turn this back on. You're just using this to trace. So I just want to have it back here so I can trace it. And if you want, you can go over to here where this is and lock it. And that way it's not lighting up when you go to like your select tool or something. You can't light it up if you click on it. If this wasn't locked, then I could click on it and you can see that it highlights. So I'm just going to put a lock on it. And now I'm going to start tracing these lines. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to go over to my pen tool. I'll start with this one right on the edge. And I'm going to click once. Just click. And now I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to go to the other edge of that line. I'm going to click and hold. And I'm going to pull this handle out Sometimes these you got to pull pretty far, and I'm going to match that line. I'm going to let go. All right, for some reason it changed my colors there. I have no color on there, so I need to change this one to red. So if I go down here to my bottom left of my tools panel, I can double click on my stroke color. This is the square with the little square inside, and I can make it a bright red color so I can see it. And then I also want it to be thicker. I don't know why it changed it when I turned this thing back on, but I'm going to change it back. So right here where it says stroke, which is also on the right, it like looks like a bunch of little lines. So if I got rid of this right now and I wanted to get that back up, I can go up to window and then lines. Where is that? Layers, gradient, appearance, stroke. That's what I want. All right, and now I can move that up again. So I can click this up to 4, and you notice that this line gets fatter. All right, so this is important right here. I've made one line. Now if I immediately start making another line, it's going to connect from this to this, which you don't want. So if I clicked here, it's going to, oh no, you know what? I got out of it and did some other stuff, so it doesn't matter. But for you, here I'll show you on this next one. So I click here, I pull out my handle, and I need to match that up. All right, so now if I went to try and do another one without clicking out of this, watch. If I click here, it's going to put these two together. I don't want that. So after you're done with one line, go to your select tool, click once outside, and then go back to your pen tool, and you can go do one of these other ones. So click, click, and then you want to match this again. So that's all you're doing. You're just matching these lines. And there was something else that I wanted to... you don't need to save this, but if you were going to save it, you would go to File, and then Export, and then you can save it as whatever you want to save it as. So in Illustrator, saving a file is a little bit different. You go to File, Export instead of File, Save As. The last thing is that if I go to my Direct Select tool, which is the white arrow, I can then go back to any of these lines that I've made, and I can move them around. So if I click on this line with my Direct Select, you could make another point with it, but you would have to go to over to here and go to your Add Anchor Point tool, and then you could make another one. But for the purposes of this, if I just want to maneuver this, let's just say on the first go around you were a little bit off on there, I can click on any of these anchor points, and I'm just using my left and right arrows right now, but I can move this over, I can change the location of it, and that's that. So after the fact, you can always go back to your lines with your Direct Select tool, and you can mess with these. Once you click on it, I can move the handle again. I can do whatever I need to do with my Direct Select tool. And that is it. So I'm going to check that you have all of these lines covered up with the red line or another color. I don't care what color. And I'm just going to check you off. I'm not giving you a grade. You don't need to put it on your website. You don't need to save it. I just need to check off that you have it. And then this is just practice for the next assignment where you're going to need this technique. David.